Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1616. Wow, I'm so excited about that number because it's Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Podcaster Valley, the last place on earth. I am your host, Mike Matthews. There's been a storm of reactions to the wonderful post that I did yesterday.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
The wonderful show. We'll get into that. And also, we'll hear from Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, and
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And John Deere, the engineer. I met someone around my age who doesn't know ABBA, and that caused me rage. I mean, how do you not know who ABBA is? I mean, what kind of a cave do you live in? That's just unacceptable if you're a human. ABBA, okay, if you like them or hate them, you still need to know who they are.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Swedish group. 2 boys, 2 girls, and they wrote catchy dance songs with
Mike's
lots of piano,
Daily
lots of strings,
Podcast,
and kind of harmonies.
Yeah!
Okay, there we go. We've brought you up to date if you didn't know. And people are so depressing sometimes. I know depression's a big thing in our society. Nothing to be ashamed of if you get depressed. Get some kind of help though, you know? Something. Don't want to it often leads, well, I don't know if it often leads, but it can lead to a bad end. So, but people like to dump on me, not dump. I guess dump is the word that you heard that I just said. You know, they'll complain. There's another term for saying they like to bitch about stuff. And they always seem to do it with me as people are walking in there. I want to talk to me.
Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, the chef supervisor. I get really mad when I'm on my smartphone and people want to try and talk to me, but I'm busy talking on my smartphone.
You call it a smartphone?
Yeah, it's a smartphone.
Okay. And look who else is here. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman! And this is John Deere, the engineer. I really dislike it when I'm trying to talk to you and you're not listening. Huh? I was on my smartphone, looking at my smartphone, texting away, looking at some of the messages people sent to me.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Oh, okay. That's all right then. Thank you. Hey, you know, I have a thing for phone booths, especially since they don't exist anymore. But this is a picture of a, what do you call it, phone booth in Alameda. As you look from the island of Alameda, which is not really an island. I mean, it is an island, but it's a man-made island. They basically carved out a river around it, around this landmass. So now it's not technically connected to another landmass, but it is only separated from the other landmass by a very small rivulet of water. And that's all I have to say about that.
Really?
Yes. Can I get a little... Thank you. So, the picture is of that little phone booth there that is next to these lovely little colored houseboats. In fact, I think one of these houseboats in this picture was used on the TV show Parenthood. The Crosby... What's his name? Crosby something, isn't it? That actor. Or his name was Crosby on the show? I don't know. I watched it. It was all kinds of stress. And I didn't care for it much. It had Lauren Graham on it from Gilmore Girls. So it was, in some ways, a continuation of Gilmore Girls. But no. So, that is a picture from Alameda, and it's facing towards Jack London Square, and you can see it at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. And a phone booth that's not really a phone booth at all. In fact, it's been stripped down to hold a bunch of different types of plants. A nice little bit of the Bay Area, of the East Bay. Now, some of the texts I got were, wow, big news dropped on the podcast today. Wink emoji. You equals smooch, smooch, smooch. Her equals, I guess this is hearts in a a person. It looks like a zombie with heart eyes. LOL. Thank you for that text, Sylvia, which I cannot in any possible way interpret. What the heck? And then Kevin from Addendum with Kevin said, Rosie listened to the podcast. So proud of you, buddy. But for some reason, he texted it me 4 times, that message. It's over a half-hour period. People got some strange texting etiquette. And then I heard from someone that asked me about Candace Owens. And have you podcasted about Candace Owens yet? I'd be interested in your opinion. She's kind of crazy, huh? I think she's going for shock factor. When are you going to come down to visit SoCal? Oh. Okay, so I looked up Candace Owens, and she's some conservative commentator, and I don't really care. Hey, is there subtext? Can there be subtext in a text? Oh, yeah, there is. Have you ever, I don't know if it's intentional subtext, but you're texting someone, and you're just choosing words as fast as you can, but maybe you're putting something in those that you're trying to say. Or are we pulling subtext from our texts, and there isn't anything there? Are we making any more sense of that? Candace Owens, by the way, is 27. Conservative commentator, conservative views. She is African-American, and Kanye West is a fan, and Candace gets pretty mad at her at the I am not African-American. So technically it's not my community. I am part of the community known as the human race. Candace and her quote-unquote community, she does not agree with some of the beliefs, sometimes liberal slanting beliefs. Candace does not go with that trek, and thus Kanye West, for some reason lately, has been a little more conservative with his opinions of things. That is what I have been hearing through the grapevine. So a friend of mine posted a picture of her dog and got 59 likes on Instagram. I don't think I have ever in my life gotten 59 likes on Instagram. But she'll post a picture of a flower and she gets 7,000 likes. And she's not some big-time celebrity. She's just a normal person living a normal life. And yet she posts a picture of her dog and gets 59 likes. I don't get it. What is that? And is that something... I think if you're a woman and you're young and you're attractive, you get a bunch of likes. No matter what you post on Facebook or Instagram. You control the world, basically. You control the pipes. That's what they call media sometimes, is pipes. And that's... I feel like I'm out on a ledge now. I've gone too far, and I need to say something about that there's a museum, and that there's a lot of fakes by... How do you say his name? Etienne Terrace, the French painter. The French painter whose museum is full of fakes, according to The Guardian. He was 64 when he died in 1922. And apparently more than half of the paintings in the French museum are fake. That are his. Oh, that's unfortunate. Then Mike Pence's doctor alerted White House aides about Ronnie Jackson. Alarms were raised that the president's doctor may have violated federal privacy protections for Karen Pence and intimidated the vice president's doctor. The what? Let's go to the
behavior and conduct. Now, Pence's physician wrote 3 detailed memos that we have obtained that highlight what the physician said was, quote, intimidating and aggressive behavior that made the physician feel uncomfortable because of multiple confrontations that they had over a medical issue involving the Second Lady of the United States, Karen Pence. Now, Pence's physician relayed concerns to White House officials last September that Jackson may have violated the HIPAA law, which protects patients' rights when discussing the medical situation involving Mrs. Pence with senior White House officials and medical.
He sounds drunk. The previously unreported incident is the first sign that there are serious concerns about Ronnie Jackson's conduct, and it reached the highest level of the White House as far back as September, months before White House aides furiously defended Jackson's professionalism, insisted he had been thoroughly vetted, and argued allegations of misconduct amounted to unsubstantiated rumors. And this little thing you may have heard called...
You are fake news. Fake news. Fake news.
The episode, detailed in 3 memos by Pence's physician, is also the first documentation that has surfaced involving a special allegation of medical misconduct by Jackson. No, I'm reading. Why does I talk like that when I'm reading? Also, the questions. So many questions to Donald Trump that Mueller wants to ask. This woman's going to say something.
That special counsel Robert Mueller wants to ask the president. The questions, first revealed by the New York Times, center on whether the president obstructed justice in connection with former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, former FBI Director James Comey, and Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Other questions focus on the Trump campaign's contacts with Russia. Jeff Pegues is outside the special counsel's office in Washington. Jeff, good morning.
Good morning, Jeff. Hi, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm out here, and I got questions, and I'm gonna read a question now.
Actually, The Daily, that is a podcast done by the New York Times, discussed this today.
From the New York Times. Now, the president's lawyer, John Dowd, had discussions with Flynn's lawyer about a possible pardon.
Right.
Well, the question is, was the president or his associates or lawyers trying to use a pardon to stop Flynn from cooperating?
And that's how that writer of that article, when he attained the questions, that's how he sounds on the podcast through the whole podcast. So
at this point, does the president plan to sit down with Mueller's team and answer these 49 questions and any other questions they have?
The president wants to sit down and do the interview, and the president has lawyers now that will go along with that.
So there you go. Ta-da! That's going to be crazy. So that's happening. It's interesting because they got into a discussion. President Trump said on Twitter today that it was disgraceful that questions the special counsel would like to ask him were publicly disclosed, and he's mad at the New York Times yet again. And he noted that there were no questions about collusion. He also said collusion was a phony crime. Okay. Well, and then there's what's the dislike button? Facebook's downvote test spreads to more users down under. Don't call it a dislike button. With Facebook's developer event approaching called FB, word has spread that more users can try its downvote button on post comments, while it's not the fabled dislike button. Because there's always been this thing that Facebook doesn't want to do dislike buttons because that's like negative. That's not good. So you might be asking, Mike, about who's this girl that you're seeing? What's going on? What's happening? You have an inquiring mind. You have questions. You have Mueller questions. And did you say Mueller?
Bueller.
Okay.
Bueller.
Before I get to that, Megyn Kelly compares Tom Brokaw's situation to her time at Fox News. Okay. And because she was talking about Tom Brockaw. Brockaw has been accused of making unwanted sexual advances toward former coworker Linda Vester in the 90s. She said, Tom Brockaw has, and I can't say strongly enough, vehemently denied these allegations. Oh, this was Snow, Kate Snow, who was on another NBC correspondent. Before summarizing a sharply worded letter Brockaw wrote to his colleagues. Chely pointed out the significance of Brockaw denying the allegations instead of apologizing for his actions while he was at NBC. Not in every case does the man come out and forcibly deny it, she said of other allegations that have been made against high-profile figures over the past few months. In fact, we've seen in some of the cases the men have said, I screwed up, I'm not a perfect person, I made mistakes. Snow added that Brockaw's letter stated that he is not a perfect person, though. Chely said despite Brockaw's denial, Vester said she has contemporaneous journal notes and a friend to whom she reported it. So there we go. That's the latest with that. Back to the friend of mine, the fine female that I am enjoying the presence of. And she was so kind to walk Basil the Boxer yesterday and had a wonderful walk with him, and they get along so great. That's just so 180 from a girl I dated that I met on a stupid online dating app years ago, who just did not like Basil and was like, ew, oh, he's got slobber, oh, he's a dog, oh, he passes gas, oh, come on. And something else I found out about this lady, the new lady, the lady I've been seeing, the fine lady, is that she, as I, am a Taurus.
You've got to be kidding me.
No, it's not. I'm not a Taurus. I don't think she's not either. The interesting thing is that we are both only children. We grew up in a world where we had to basically come up with things to do. We weren't constantly saturated with stimulation. That's probably not the best word to pick. Not constantly having to find things. We had to find things to do because we didn't have a brother or sister going, come on, let's go play football. Let's go play games. Blah, blah, blah. No, we had to find interesting things to do. Maybe that is why I'm talking to you now completely by myself in a room. I mean, I'm at Cafe Anyway with a bunch of people, as you can hear in the background noise.
Anyway.
Cafe Anyway is where we are. As we go outside of Cafe Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcaster Valley. I will reveal more about her, if she allows me to, over the coming days. I will say, though, and I think this is enough to say, is she is simply a delight. And wonderful. Hey, I hope if you think that you are alone in the world, don't. You aren't. There's someone for you. And if there's not right now, you just hang out. Just enjoy life. Being alone has its own positive parts to it, positive points, and just enjoy yourself. And you'll find someone will come along. It's a big world. Lots of people in it, in this big world. We're an overpopulated planet, if you didn't notice. So I think you'll find someone at some time. And as Matthew McConaughey says, it'll be... All right. Next show, it's going to be the wonderful Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. Oh, and don't despair if you're stuck in traffic right now listening to the show. Green lights will happen eventually. Oh my gosh, at 4:30 in the morning, driving to work, every single light I hit turned red. For the weirdest reasons. Person making a left turn. Person walking across the street. Who's walking across the street at 4:30 in the morning? I don't get it. What's going on? I had a TV show on NBC. I'm not Tom Brockaw. You're a guy that was on my show.
Let's go, Jerry. Go!
No, enough of that. So, that's it. I hope you have a great day. We'll hopefully be back next show for other fun things to chat about. at interesting things. That sounds good. What a plan.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Email Mike now at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!